Alright, let's set the scene for those who might have missed this whole situation. Angel Reese, you know her, the Chicago Sky forward, LSU legend, the woman who helped bring that championship home, and has been making waves in the WNBA. She's confident, she's talented, and she's never been one to back down from speaking her mind. Stephen A. Smith, the man needs no introduction. ESPN's loudest voice, the guy who's been calling out athletes for decades, and someone who's never met a microphone he didn't want to grab. Now, these two have had some back and forth over the months, but things recently reached a whole new level that got the entire basketball world talking. To understand what happened, we need to go back a few months. Angel Reese has been having an incredible rookie season in the WNBA. The girl's been putting up numbers, showing that college success can translate to the professional level. But here's where things get interesting. Reese has never been shy about defending herself or her teammates when she feels like they're being disrespected. And in today's social media world, that can sometimes be seen as controversial. Stephen A., being Stephen A., has made several comments about various WNBA players throughout the season, including some observations about Angel Reese's game and her approach to media interactions. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Stephen A. has a way of making his points that can come across as harsh. It's his style. Some people love it, some people hate it, but everyone listens. So here's what went down that got everyone's attention. During a recent episode of First Take, Stephen A. was discussing the current state of women's basketball. He was talking about how important it is for young players to handle criticism professionally and use it as motivation to improve their game. In his typical passionate style, Stephen A. made some pointed comments about how some players in the league need to focus more on their performance and less on social media drama. While he didn't initially name names, it was pretty clear he was referencing some recent situations involving Angel Reese. Now, Angel Reese caught wind of these comments, and she did what many young athletes do in 2025. She took to social media to respond. Her response was, let's call it spirited. She posted a series of tweets and Instagram stories where she basically said she wasn't going to let anyone, especially someone who never played professional basketball, tell her how to carry herself. She said, I'm going to be me, and if people don't like it, that's their problem. I've worked too hard to get where I am to let anyone dim my light. Now, if you know Stephen A. Smith, you know he wasn't going to let that slide. The very next day on First Take, Stephen A. dedicated almost an entire segment to responding to Angel Reese. And folks, it was classic Stephen A. Passionate, direct, and absolutely no punches pulled. He started off by saying he respects Angel Reese's talent and her achievements. He acknowledged that she's a phenomenal player who's worked incredibly hard to get where she is. But then, and here's where it got spicy, he said that part of being a professional athlete is learning how to handle criticism and use it constructively. Stephen A. broke it down like this. Angel Reese is talented, no doubt about it. But talent alone isn't enough in professional sports. You need mental toughness. You need to be able to take criticism, learn from it, and come back stronger. He went on to explain that his comments weren't personal attacks, but professional observations meant to help young players grow. Then Stephen A. said something that really caught people's attention. He said, I've been in this business for over 30 years. I've seen talented players come and go. The ones who last, the ones who become legends, are the ones who can take criticism, process it, and use it to fuel their improvement. Y'all, the internet went absolutely wild after Stephen A.'s response. Basketball Twitter was divided right down the middle. You had people saying Stephen A. was absolutely right, that young players need to learn how to handle criticism if they want to succeed at the professional level. On the other side, you had people saying Stephen A. was being too harsh on a young woman who was just trying to establish herself in the league. Former WNBA players started weighing in. Some supported Stephen A.'s message about professionalism, while others felt like Angel Reese had every right to defend herself against what she perceived as unfair criticism. Even some current NBA players got involved, with some supporting the idea that young players need thick skin, while others felt like the criticism of Angel Reese was unnecessary. Let's be fair here and look at both sides of this situation. From Stephen A.'s perspective, he's coming from a place of experience. The man has covered professional sports for 3 decades. He's seen countless talented players who couldn't handle the pressure and criticism that comes with being a professional athlete. His point seems to be that criticism, even harsh criticism, is part of professional sports. Athletes who can learn from it and use it as motivation tend to have longer, more successful careers. Stephen A. also argues that his job as a media personality is to provide honest analysis, even when it's not what people want to hear. He's not there to be a cheerleader. He's there to give his professional opinion. From Angel Reese's perspective, she's a young woman trying to establish herself in a league that doesn't always get the respect it deserves. She's probably dealing with criticism and scrutiny that male athletes might not face at the same level. Here's what I think is really interesting about this whole situation. It's not just about Stephen A. Smith and Angel Reese. It's about bigger issues in sports media and professional athletics. First, there's the question of how criticism should be delivered. Stephen A. has a very direct, sometimes confrontational style that's made him famous and successful. But is that the best approach when dealing with young athletes who are still developing? Second, there's the issue of social media and how it's changed the relationship between athletes and media. In the past, if a media personality criticized an athlete, the athlete might respond through their team or in a formal interview. Now, athletes can respond instantly and directly to millions of followers. Third, there's the broader conversation about how female athletes are treated in the media. Some argue that women athletes face different types of criticism and scrutiny than their male counterparts. I think there are some valuable lessons in this whole situation for everyone: athletes, media personalities, and fans. For young athletes like Angel Reese, the lesson might be about choosing your battles wisely. Not every piece of criticism needs a public response. Sometimes the best response is just going out and playing great basketball. For media personalities, maybe it's about considering how to deliver criticism in a way that's constructive rather than just provocative. Stephen A.'s style works for his brand, but there might be ways to make the same points without seeming overly harsh. For fans, I think the lesson is to remember that these are real people with real feelings. Whether we're talking about Angel Reese or Stephen A. Smith, these are human beings trying to do their jobs at the highest level. So where do things stand now? Interestingly, both Stephen A. and Angel Reese seem to have moved on from this particular exchange. Angel has been focusing on her game and her team's performance, while Stephen A. has moved on to other topics in his shows. This might be the most mature way to handle the situation. Sometimes in these media cycles, the best thing to do is state your piece and then get back to work. Angel Reese has continued to play excellent basketball, which is probably the best response she could give to any criticism. Stephen A. continues to do what he does, provide passionate commentary on sports topics. What do you think? Was Stephen A. right to call out what he saw as unprofessional behavior? Or was Angel Reese justified in defending herself against criticism she felt was unfair? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more sports content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.